Well, I would like to welcome all of you to this installment of the Navigare Webinare. We have been running these webinars since the month of March, right after we were shut down for the coronavirus. I thought by now we'd be back to normal, all of our bases open, and we are not back to normal. There is one thing that has remained the same. I want to go sailing. Hopefully you do too. We've been talking about a number of different programs that allow you to invest in a boat, put it in a charter fleet for a myriad of reasons, whether it's purely financial, trying to make as much financial return, as much sailing, lots of different reasons for putting a boat in the charter fleet. We've talked very specifically about our guaranteed program. We've talked about our shared revenue program. And today we're going to talk about the SMART program. And I have to apologize. I am in the middle of a raging thunderstorm, so you might lose me completely. Not sure exactly what's going to happen. It's hitting hard. You probably hear it in the background. So I'm at our U.S. office in St. Petersburg, Florida. Our Mediterranean bases have been up and operating for the majority of the summer. They're going strong. We still haven't received word from the BVI government for an official opening date, but we expect to be opening around November. On top of that, I'm pleased to announce we are opening a base in Marsh Harbor in the Bahamas. So great location, super easy to get to. The water is crystal clear. Love sailing in the Bahamas. So I regret that we had some technical difficulties getting all of the questions that many of you had posed to us before the webinar started. And so if you can find the chat button right now, go ahead and open the chat box and start typing in your questions. We'd love to get as many questions going as possible. And SMART program is super interesting. Very different. A couple of points on why Navigare. We have been in business for just about 2 decades and very excited about that. Started off with 6 boats in Greece 20 years ago and have been growing steadily to now become, I believe, the 3rd largest charter company in the world with over 300 boats, 9 bases, and 50 partner bases worldwide. We have, by all measures, the best maintenance program in the industry. We really care about our owners' assets and taking care of their assets. It's very dear to our heart, and it allows us to have the longest charter term in the industry, and we have the best financial returns. So lots of reasons to work with us. Check us out on TripAdvisor. Our BVI base I think is pretty much all 5 stars. So very, very happy to have you do your due diligence on us. I'm fortunate enough to have our sales team today. We have Amanda Haley and Joaquin Luna, and they're going to be talking quite a bit about the SMART program. We're going to start off by talking about who fits the profile for the SMART program. So let me start by just giving you the briefest overview of the SMART program. Basically, you pay a large down payment for the boat. You don't have any loan, there's no involvement with a bank. We put the boat in our charter fleet. At the end of the charter term, we hand you the keys to the boat, fully paid, free and clear, and you sail away. So it's a wonderful program for lots of reasons. Amanda, tell us about the clients that you work with that typically fit the profile for the SMART program.
I love the SMART program in the fact that it fits a lot of different profiles. One being both the new and the very experienced sailor who would like to visit bases all around the world. Not only do we have the 9 bases that we own and operate, we have 50 other reciprocity bases that our customers can go and charter a boat at. So it can be anyone who wants to travel and sail around the world. Also, for people that fit this profile are possibly non-US citizens or Canadians who do not want a loan or cannot qualify for a loan. The SMART program is really good in that a mid-size catamaran, you put down a 50% down payment and you're off and running in boat ownership. So also the people who would like maybe somewhat of a fractional, and that's what some people would call it in the industry, but we like to think of it as the SMART program split with 2 or 3 other owners. And we call that our SMART holiday. And I'll be talking about that a little bit more, but that's one profile. And then the other profile would be the customer who wants to retire and set a time to own that boat within 7 years, or maybe even sooner with the bailout option, and sail off into the sunset. So it's people who have a scheduled life that may want to make sure that their boat is completely paid off and owned free and clear. So that's
Thanks,
the profile
Amanda.
I work with.
Thanks, Amanda. And Joaquin, tell me a little bit about some of the profiles of the owners that you've worked with.
You bet, Philip. I'm actually very excited about the SMART program. Did I mention that it's easy? It's very easy and a very hassle-free program. It's perfect for people who have access to cash, maybe either through a money market savings account, a home equity line of credit, or a 401k loan, and maybe don't want to be bothered with third-party financing. As you know, it can be quite a chore sometimes to get third-party financing for a boat that's never going to touch U.S. shores, or not for a long time. And again, it provides this hassle-free ownership. So the boats are always ready to sail when you show up. You don't have to stick around and clean them afterwards. All maintenance is professionally handled, and there's no additional cost for anything. While the boat's in the program, all the insurance is covered, slip fees are covered. Again, all maintenance, pay for the boat, don't pay for anything else. And again, it's very easy. And at the end, you've got a yacht that's 100% paid off, so that you can do with what you want. And if you'd like to sail the world and have no payments, it's the way to go.
Great, thanks, Joaquin. We're going to share a presentation, and I think some graphics might help explain the program a little bit more. Again, I encourage you to type in questions. I see that they're beginning, so go ahead and type in any questions. If you would put questions in earlier when you registered, please retype those, because we will not be able to cover them. Question and answers really do pull out lots of information that we may not cover, questions that you may have very specifically. So here, I'm going to share the screen, and let's talk about the SMART program.
All right. So we're going to start with a 2022 Lagoon 46 4-cabin model that is whose home is in the British Virgin Islands. If you look at the basic price, the mandatory equipment, and the commissioning, we come up with a total yacht price of approximately $833,000. Under the SMART program, you would put $417,000 down. And again, the program will pay off the yacht in its entirety at the end of year 7, allowing you to do with what you want. Again, working on the same 2022 Lagoon 46, I'd like to reiterate, we have other boats available, and the numbers move appropriately, but we'll do Lagoon 40s and probably all the way up to 50 for that matter. No third-party financing. Navigare handles it all. So I just want to reiterate, it's very easy, very hassle-free. We can select a boat and have the boat on order in a matter of days, not weeks or months. So if you look at this scenario, the down payment would be $417,000. Total price that you'll pay for the yacht during the entire program is $417,000. No other costs, nothing until you take ownership after year 7. And in here, we know that 7 years is a long time. So if something changes. Say at year 4, you've decided you're going to retire a couple years early and you want to sail away. You would owe $198,000 and off you go.
Great.
I think that
And you say, Joaquin, that there's nothing else to pay in the entire term of the charter? The boat's just free and clear?
And nothing else. No worries the entire time.
Wow, wonderful. Wonderful.
I think that last slide answered Stephen's question right then and there.
Let's look at this graphically. So if you look at the bar in the middle, you'll see the total cost, $417,313. That's all you pay. If you look to the left, you'll see 2 items that come to $791,730. That's the residual value of the boat plus the holiday usage time. So if you take those numbers, subtract out the $417,000 that you've paid, you come up with a return of $374,000. So on top of what you paid for the boat. So it truly is a money-making boat. Even if you discount and don't use any of the holiday time, your residual value in the boat will be higher than what you paid for the boat. You may not believe me. I'm just going to show you some examples a little bit later. Show a very clear representation of the value of these boats 7 years down the road. The numbers were pulled directly from basically the boat MLS system.
And to follow up with what you were just speaking about, Philip, we have a slide here showing the expected residual value at about $500,000, while your purchase price would be $417,000. When you factor in the difference between what you paid in the residual and then the holiday value you receive over 7 years of approximately $291,000, you get an actual return of $374,000 over the program, or $53,000 a year. Not bad.
So basically, if you take that 374 divided by 7, that's a 12% return on your investment in the boat. So pretty good, pretty good. I'm a believer.
Here I said I would break down the Smart holiday program between 2 and 3 different owners. So once again, we're using the example of a 22 Lagoon 46 4-cabin in the British Virgin Islands. The price of that boat would be $833,000 brand new if you were to buy it outright. In the Smart 2 program, that's sharing it with another person, we take that $417,000 and split it in half to $208,000 per person. In this program, we have a buyback guarantee of $166,000 per person who joins this Smart holiday program. So that means that your at-risk portion is $41,000 over the 7 years. That means in worst case scenario, we only pay you back 80% of that boat. We expect to pay you back 100% of that $208,000 buyback. But just in case it's only the 80%, which is the guaranteed buyback, that's $41,000 divided by 7. That's 7 years of sailing. That's about $6,000 per year. Now, if you were to go price out the cost of a Lagoon 46 for 1 week, it's a lot more than $6,000. So even if you took that at-risk portion, you're in the clear there in just your value of time. So when you buy into the Smart holiday program, obviously the amount of time has to be split between the different owners. So let's take if you share the ownership with one other person, that means 2 people in the program. That would includes up to about 4 to 6 weeks of sailing, depending on when you're going in peak or mid-season. That's 4 to 6 weeks of sailing per year for 7 years, valued at $145,000. It's pretty awesome. Now, let's say you split the ownership between 3 people. Each person gets a third share, which means about 3 weeks of sailing per year and their total investment is $138,000 or $139,000. So you can see how if you can find a couple other people, or we can match you up with a couple different people, that being able to vacation 3 up to 6 weeks of a year is a really good value and deal in this program. And it makes it very affordable for people who would otherwise not be able to come up with the money to buy a boat of this size.
Thanks for the questions coming in. We need lots more questions. Typically, that's the bulk of our program. We've got a few questions. Love to get some more. Amanda, I understand we have a boat that has one spot available for the Smart Holiday program. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, actually I can. So that would be a Lagoon 42. It's coming into the British Virgin Islands this year. And you can basically have that, and I don't have this pulled up, which I should have. Here we go. No, that's not it. Sorry. But basically, it's around $150,000 investment on this Lagoon 42. And you will get 1.5 weeks of sailing in high season, 1.5 weeks of sailing in mid-season, and about 1 week of sailing short notice. So that's one that we can give you the specifics on when breakdown of price point comes on a Lagoon 42 this year. And we already have one person in the Smart Holiday program that's bought into their share. So we need to find another person for the half share.
Oh, so it's a great deal.
It's a great deal.
Can get into this boat and start sailing right away. So we talked about the residual value, and that's anybody who's looked into these programs and really looked deeply, they really need to think about what the residual value is of the boat, because that's frankly the exit strategy. So you may remember that if we look at this example, 208,000, that would be, we'd need to sell the boat for about 416,000 to make back, to give you zero risk. And we fully expect to be able to sell the boat for 416,000. And here's basically a description. The 450 is the boat that the 46 replaced. And 7 years ago, they were selling for $628,000, about 17% less than what a boat would cost now. The average sold has been about $559,000 for those 2014 Lagoon 450s. So we use a 35% depreciation for 7 years. We're typically well over that. If you don't believe me on the 559, let me show you that this is from sold boats from the MLS. These are the boats that have been sold, and here they are. 559,000 is the average price. I threw out the high and the low. And so we don't have any worries about selling the boat for 416,000 to get you 100% of your money back. I spoke a little bit about our maintenance program, and we're so proud of it that I have to brag just a little bit. Everything we do is online. And by doing everything online, when the boat comes in from a charter, our debriefer will ask about any issues with the boat. Everything will be put right into our charter yacht management system app right there on the spot. As any of the issues are repaired, they will be marked off by the technician, what was done and the parts used. And as an owner, you have access to your boat. I use it all the time. I get to see all of the work done on all of the boats at the bases I run. And but as an owner, you get to see everything that's going on your boat. We have the industry leading maintenance guarantee, 100+ point checklist of things that we do every year So every year the boats get pulled out, bottom paint, hulls are buffed, sail drives are done, on top of what you would expect as the normal maintenance. So we're super proud of that, and I keep talking about it because you really are putting your asset in our control, and it's important that we earn your trust on that. So we are now at the question program. By the way, I'm going to show the, if you're, I'll leave this up for just a minute while we're asking about, answering some of the questions. Please write down the numbers for Amanda and Joaquin. And a couple of questions. A good one. Who holds the title to the boat? Stephen, that's a great question. And Navigare is basically taking the loan out on the boat on an owner's behalf. So Navigare holds the title. The bank actually holds the title to the boat in Navigare's name. There is an agreement between the owner and Navigare where you will have access if for any reason Navigare defaulted on the loan, and it's never happened in 20 years. You will have access to the loan, can pay the boat off, continue to make payments. So there's the security built in with regards to the title. So what happens if an owner wants to exit early? Let's see. I think, Amanda, you were on that, that slide. Go ahead and talk about that again.
Well, is there any way we can go back to that, or I can just, basically, if a person decides, okay, I've retired early and I know it's only 3 or 4 years into the program, we have a bailout option. So you put down, you pay your 50%, which is $417,000, and then you want to bail out early, you would have to pay another $198, I think it was, after 4 years. Each year, we have it set what your bailout price would be. If you want to exit early, you can, but then obviously you would have to pay for the money that is still left on that note or that loan.
Yeah, it's basically the payoff amount for the bank.
And I think it's important to notice that that amount is set and disclosed up front in the contract when it's executed. So it's you'll know it beforehand.
Yeah, thanks. That's a very good point. Okay, do you have any monohulls in the SMART program? Joaquin, what's the range of boats that we have available for the SMART program?
Well, it does move a little bit, but we do have monohulls available. And just the down payments are set by the boat and the location. So it varies depending on where it's at. And actually, generally the BVI's is the highest performing location financially, although Croatia comes in pretty close with monohulls.
Yeah, so we can put any amount in the, or any boat that we would normally sell, anything in the lagoon range, the Fontaine Pajot, Nautatech, Bali, anything from Beneteau, Dufour, Jeannot. So we can put any of the boats in the program, in the SMART program, and we're happy to work with you. The SMART program is really nice. There are some issues if you want to put a boat in a fleet in the Med. There are some VAT issues. With the SMART program, all of that disappears. And the cool thing is, we actually have owners in Sweden, for example, who will place a boat in the Virgin Islands just because of the great return in the Virgin Islands, and Bahamas, very similar return. And they never sail on their boats. They just sail on boats in Croatia and Greece and Spain and Thailand. So that's a real long answer to, we'll put any of the boats that we would normally put in our fleet in the other programs in the SMART program. And so for a U.S. person, is there any reportable income for U.S. tax purposes? There is not. There are no Tax advantages, that would typically be somebody who would be looking for the ultimate program. Our shared revenue program, that's designed specifically to work within the IRS rules that require you to be have the boat as a business. But no, you would have no income that you would report because there would be, first of all, it wouldn't technically be your boat, and you would not have that income applied to you. And can an owner sell before 7 years? Great question, and absolutely. There's no problem selling the boat before 7 years. We really want as much lead time as we can, but we've had some cases where stuff happens, and there are some significant life changes. We are able to sell the boat basically for that the bailout amount plus the invested amount, and we'll try and get that amount so that you come out completely whole, and that tends to be a pretty good deal for the buyer also. And we will offer the boat in the SMART program for the remaining term as well to make the terms a little easier for the buyer. So we'll really work hard with our owners. It rarely happens, but we have had a couple of cases where the owners need to sell the boat, and we'll help with that. We can keep it in the program, make it very easy for a buyer to pick up the boat.
There was one question that you missed from Steve and Philip. Did you see that there?
Who holds the title to the boat?
No. If you use less sailing, that one.
Yes. If you use less sailing time than allowed, what happens? You are probably sailing less, and you are taking one of your high season weeks in the Alps at one of our resorts, or in Spain or Thailand at one of the bungalows on the beach. Again, we're the only charter company that allows you to take your sailing time and trade it for our land holidays. So that was a somewhat disingenuous answer. The real answer is the sailing time is lost if you don't use it. But I would hope that you would be able to take sailing time, or if you can't make the sailing time, be able to use holiday time. We're in the process, by the way, of really revamping our entire holiday program, especially the land holiday program, and allowing owners thousands and thousands of locations around the world, many domestically. So ski resorts in the Rockies, houses up in the Smoky Mountains where I was last week, amazing. So yeah, lots of options. If you can't make your sailing time, we would hope you would. We have had people that have donated their sailing time, and that's a great thing to do for some tax advantage. Yeah, great question. We are, Stephen, thanks. What happens if there's a total loss of the boat in a hurricane? First of all, our boats are hauled for hurricane season, not from the very first day, because we still have lots of active charters. We pull them out technically before and put them back in technically before the end of hurricane season. They are fully insured. We have amazing insurance. And in the SMART program, there is no deductible that an owner would have to pay. The boat for the first 2 years is replaced at full value, the 100% of the price paid. So we have really the best insurance company on the market. I was comparing with one of my colleagues in the industry yesterday or today. The days are blending together, and our insurance program is so far superior. coverage for engines and gensets. We have really, really tremendous coverage for our boats. So again, even for major damage, the damage is repaired, and with like new, or with new equipment for almost all repairs. So again, our insurance program is second to none in the industry, and we could not sleep at night if we didn't have an insurance program this good. All right, that's funny because I had typed in a couple of the questions. I was ready to hit enter, but I'm glad all of our attendees had asked those questions. We've run through the questions, and we have been able to keep this webinar to the shortest time frame we have. Take any last questions you may have before we wrap things up. So, you may be asking yourself right now, how do I take advantage of that Lagoon 42 that I can get into for about $150,000 and get sailing in 2 weeks? You can be sailing in Croatia if we have any spots available, or Mallorca. So we're really happy to answer. I guess Joaquin is taking phone calls. Amanda is taking video calls. But give us a call. We'd love to help you out with that Lagoon 42 or a monohull or any of the other boats that we have in our program. And we'd love to discuss the different ownership programs and find out what might be best for you. There's no need to get pre-approved for financing in the SMART program, so that really makes this program easy. One thing before we say goodbye, there is something you do need to be thinking about, and thinking about quite seriously. What's the name of your boat? So, by the way, we do have our weekly auctions. We're doing charter auctions every Wednesday. If you log into, follow the bit.ly, bit.ly/charter auction. That'll take you to the registration page for our auctions, and sign up. They're super fun. The prices cannot be beat, and we're super excited about that. So on behalf of the Navigare team, we'd love to thank you for all of your great questions, and I will love to answer any additional questions you have. Give Joaquin and Amanda a call. Thanks so much.
Thank you.